remdesivir shuts down organs. How were they benefiting from this? What kind of payout were they getting from putting people on ventilators and respirators and remdesivir and giving the vaccine? How were they benefiting monetarily on this?
The CMS, the government payment source to hospitals, essentially covered everybody, so especially the uninsured. And then they enhanced the reimbursement if there was use of a ventilator. So the hospitals were heavily incentivized to put people on the ventilator. And they enhanced the reimbursement if they used remdesivir out of all the drugs. And remdesivir was reviewed by the WHO in November of 2020. They said, don't use it. It doesn't work. It may cause side effects like kidney and liver damage. Then they re-reviewed the data in 2022 and said, were we correct? And the answer is we were correct. So we never should have used remdesivir, and we never should have put people on the ventilator. And there's 3 studies showing that provided that they hadn't, they could tolerate the work of breathing and they had good mentation. So we treated patients at home. We let the oxygen saturation go down as long as we use supplemental oxygen. We use McCullough protocol, which is multiple drugs in combination. And people had low oxygen saturations for weeks. As long as they could kind of get through it, they were fine. But that same patient who I was managing at home and they got through it fine, if they went into a hospital, they would have been paralyzed, sedated, and put on a ventilator, and that would have been it. And most people actually died of secondary pneumonias or blood clots on the ventilator.
I just interviewed Dr. Kirk Moore, who was giving his patients saline solution instead of the vaccine. But to me, that guy's a hero. I'm sorry, he's a hero. He saved lives, in my opinion. What do you think about the doctors who didn't do their due diligence and followed lockstep with the CDC and the World Health Organization and killed thousands of people with the vaccine? I mean, seriously, that's what it did. What do you think they should be punished for this? I mean, shouldn't they be held to an ethical standard that they didn't, it's really, I know it's a thin line, especially you for being a doctor, to comment on this, but what do you think the punishment should be for a doctor who mindlessly gave this vaccine to people and it caused death or injury?
Well, let's just take deaths due to COVID, since we talked about hospitalization and remdesivir. So the National Center for Health Statistics has data that of all the COVID deaths through 2023, only half had any mention of pneumonia on the chart. So right off the bat, you probably can cut the COVID deaths in half. And then if carefully adjudicated, data by the CDC and Italy and other countries suggest it's probably 10% of the COVID deaths actually died of COVID. Because remember, it was test positive at any time and then death. The death could have been way, on a totally unrelated event in the future. It was test positive and death. That's how it was defined. So if we're at 1.2 million COVID deaths, the real number of Americans who died was probably 120,000. Okay, so that's COVID. I think 85% of that was preventable just with early treatment.
But I mean, we're still in the process. I mean, they could still die 10 years from now of something related to the vaccine.
Right. But
I mean, we're in uncharted waters.
Right, but those are the numbers. So let's say 120,000 COVID deaths. Now our CDC is telling us we have 19,400 vaccine deaths where doctors, watch the patient die. They took the vaccine. The doctors have decided the vaccine caused the death. 19,400. Okay. Now, if we don't have the vaccine card, we don't have all the facts, then we can't report it. Or some doctors are afraid to report, so they just don't report. And so it's estimated that 19,400 is underreported 30-fold. So do the math. We're looking at about 560,000 to 600,000 vaccine deaths. So more people died of the vaccine than died of COVID. And so who's responsible? Well, clearly the government agencies are, those at the top. Many point to the senior coronavirus advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci. And it is of notable that he sought and got a 10-year pardon for all the crimes he committed. And the crimes almost certainly include fraud, that he tried to cover up the origins of SARS-CoV-2 and greatly misled us on so many aspects of the pandemic. The other crime is mass negligent homicide. By actively suppressing treatment that works, like the McCullough protocol, included ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, steroids, etc., and also for pushing the vaccines.
Can you take ivermectin with blood thinners? You can't, right?
Yeah, you can.
You can take it. I mean, you could kind of mix it with any medicine that's out there, or not any medicine. I
Yeah,
mean,
we
because I
like to
really
take
want to give it to
ivermectin.
my parents.
Ivermectin with a fatty food in the morning is fine. Now, I reserve it for active treatment and then for a few long COVID syndromes where I think the virus is still active in the body.
Couple more questions, Doc. I don't. I'm very. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Um, should we not trust any vaccines from here on out? Because that's the lane I'm in. No vaccines, zero. I
Let
don't
me tell you,
trust them, Doc.
before the pandemic, I took every vaccine. I
Okay.
never questioned them. I didn't really, critically review them, but I took every vaccine. My kid took every vaccine. I counted up the number of vaccines I took. It turned out I took 69 shots.
Yes,
That's a lot.
that's this.
If listen, if you're in the military, you go in medicine, you're an EMT, paramedic, you're going to take a lot of vaccines. But what happened with the COVID-19 pandemic was so bad with respect to vaccines. And what we're seeing now in children piling on more and more vaccines and having this skyrocketing rate of allergic diseases, food allergies, and neuropsychiatric problems like autism, I'm starting to think that this whole vaccine industry has gotten out of control. And I can tell you for me personally, I'm older, but you know what? I'm done taking vaccines. I'm
Okay,
not.
so would you say a child being born today should take no vaccine? Because I've heard even the vitamin K shot is dangerous. I've heard they're all. You can't trust any of them, Doc. How can we? Who? Why would anyone subject their child?
Well, listen. There's now been, a reasonable number of studies that show if the child is healthy, born healthy, they stay healthier taking no vaccines at
Boom.
all. None. Yeah.
Let me ask you one last question before I let you go. VAIDS, is that a real thing? Could we say that people have VAIDS, not AIDS, if they get vaccinated?
Well, yes, those who take the vaccines, particularly multiple vaccines, they are more likely to get sick over and over again. They get sick with COVID and
And
other
turbo
illnesses.
cancers, which
Yeah, it's
is
probably loading the spike protein. So in the Australian inquiry into the COVID pandemic and all the crimes and things that have gone on there, an official term is VAIDS, vaccine-associated immunodeficiency syndrome. So yeah, I think it's real.
Doctor, where do people go to find you? And I know you have a book. They go to Amazon to get the book right there.
Yeah, go to Amazon, check out my new book, Vaccines, Mythology, Ideology, and Reality. It's a required reading. It's really reads fast, and John Leake is a best-selling author, so it's not a boring medical book, but you really get to learn how this whole thing with vaccines got going, how it's spun out of control. And I've never used the word vaccine in my life so many times since the last 5 years. I don't know about
Right.
you, but it's just,
Wow.
I think the world has lost its mind over vaccines. You got to learn how this happened. It's almost like vaccines have become their own religion among certain doctors. People want to find doctors like me who can think clearly on this and be fair. So go to the wellness company, twc.health/courage, doctors there, nutraceuticals and supplements. That's where you want to get your Spike Detox and other products. Check out McCullough Foundation, McCulloughFND.org. That supports me and all my work in the Senate and public policy, and Nick Hulsher, our epidemiologist. And then follow me everywhere on social media because that's how we're getting the late-breaking studies out. And of course, follow the podcast here because you're one of the podcasters are bringing people the truth, not big mainstream media.
No, it's we're destroying them. So the ultimate spike detox is on the Wellness Company, correct?
Yes.
That's the Wellness Company site. Well, is it the wellnesscompany.com?
It's twc.health, twc.health. Do /courage to get a discount. Virtually everybody should be on Ultimate Spike Detox. I'm telling you right now, the people not on detox, I'm worried about them. They're getting dementia, seizures, blood clots, heart damage. Once people get on the detox, they improve. And so we
Does
can
that
get
help
out.
with punches to the head like I took in my?
Ah,
Just kidding. So twc.health/courage.
right. twc.health/courage. If you're going to actually buy any additional supplements there, get a membership and get the supplements for free. It's cheaper. You get the newsletter. At the membership at the middle and high levels, you actually get free prescription drugs, which is quite useful. So I think the middle membership is $49 a month and the high membership is $99 a month. But it's really useful because you buy a couple bottles of anything, you're going to be over that level. So
Let me see the book one last time. Folks, get the book. Here it is.
there it is. Amazon, it's required reading. It's number one, by the way, in medical history, immunology, vaccinology. Takes you all the way back to the beginning. How did this get going with smallpox? Walks through all the different vaccines, measles, and all these. By the way, Fauci's not the first arrogant guy out there. Louis Pasteur probably rivals Fauci. The vaccine developers had tremendous arrogance, hubris, money, power, and they used fear of infectious diseases to drive people into vaccination. You think it was bad during COVID? They put people in jail during the smallpox vaccine.
Well, what about even HIV? I mean, Fauci was behind HIV as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So listen, there's been some real nefarious actions and ill intent here. It's important to read the history, and it's important to become conversant in this. And you know what? I've got to go because I got patients
You got it, Doctor.
waiting. Thank you so much.
You have a good